What's good everyone, Shurit here. So today I'm bringing you guys a Blackluster Soldier deck profile. Now a lot of you guys are probably thinking, shouldn't he be profiling Necros considering Prep came back to free? Well guys, literally I released a Necros deck profile a week ago, and all you have to do to that profile is take out Maxi and put in Preparation of Right. That's all you have to do. So I really didn't want to make the Necros deck profile, because at that point it's unnecessary and it is a bit of a waste of time. Obviously I am devoted to the Necros Master Race, but if all you have to do is change one card, it's really not needed to make a deck profile for it, especially considering how long it does take to make my deck profiles. So I thought, what is the next best thing? And obviously Blackluster Soldier, part of the Ritual Master Race, maybe not the Necros Master Race, but the Ritual Master Race. So I definitely wanted to profile Blackluster Soldier, especially with Envoy coming back to free, and I have really loved this deck for a long time. So let's get straight into the deck profile. So first up, we play 3 copies of Blackluster Soldier Super Soldier. Now Super Soldier is a really good card, having that Flame Wingman effect, where if you attack opponent's monster and destroy it, the opponent will take damage equal to that monster's attack point. So overall really good, but really what makes him better is the Beginning Night and the Evening Twilight Night, which I will explain later on. So next up we have 3 copies of Blackluster Soldier Envoy of the Beginning. Envoy is always going to be an amazing card. Konami bringing him back to free was possibly the best decision they've ever made. It would, if Shurit had came back to free, obviously Shurit would overshadow Blackluster Soldier coming back to free, but unfortunately I'm still banned for now. So 3 copies of Blackluster Soldier Envoy of the Beginning, amazing. As long as Yu-Gi-Oh goes on, Blackluster Soldier Envoy of the Beginning will be an amazing card. Such easy summoning requirements, being able to banish an opponent's monster, being able to potentially attack twice, overall so good. And then next up we play 3 copies of Beginning Night. Now this is where the deck this is the kind of cards that the deck revolves around. So Beginning Night has this effect where if he's tributed, the ritual monster gains the following effects. So obviously you guys can see it up on the screen right now, but I'll read it for you. So once per turn you can target one monster your opponent controls, banish it. So Super Soldier will gain Envoy's effect, and then if it destroys an opponent's monster by battle, it can attack again. So Beginning Night basically gives Super Soldier Envoy's effects, but what's even better is he doesn't have to only use one of the effects. He can banish a monster and attack twice. So I find that really amazing, that he's even better. It makes Super Soldier even better than Envoy at that point. But then obviously Beginning Night doesn't stop there. It gets even better, where if he's banished from the graveyard, you can add a ritual spell card from your deck to your hand, and that is absolutely amazing, because obviously if you're going to summon your Envoy, you're not only getting that Envoy on the field for basically free, because cards in your graveyard don't count as kind of card advantage. You're being able to plus, because you'll get a search for a ritual spell. So that's the light version of it. And then the Dark Night is Evening Twilight Night, and we do play 3 copies of that as well. So Evening Twilight Night has this effect where if he's tributed, you can target one monster your opponent controls and banish it. So Super Soldier, if you tribute Beginning Night and Evening Twilight Night, can banish 2 monsters and attack twice. This, you guys are just realizing, bloody hell, that card is OP. And especially when you consider that if Super Soldier destroys opponent's monster by battle, they take damage equal to that monster's attack points. So the fact that it can attack once, opponent take damage, attack twice, opponent take damage, you basically won at that point. But then Evening Twilight Night doesn't stop there, of course, and then you can obviously banish 1 random card from your opponent's hand as well until your opponent's next end phase. So that is really good. If you're going first, you can banish a card from your opponent's hand, and obviously 1 card is so good in this game. 1 card can extend a combo so much. For example, back in Zoo format, if you had that 1 barrage, it would extend your combo so much. So the fact that you'll be able to snipe a card out your opponent's hand, kind of light force sword effect, is really, really good. And then obviously he still doesn't stop there. He says that if he's banished from the graveyard, you can add a ritual monster from your deck to your hand. So obviously if you summon Envoy by banishing the light Beginning Night and the dark Evening Twilight Night, you can get a ritual spell and a ritual monster. So it just allows you to plus so much, and I really do love this deck because of that. It just all works so well together. The Envoy combos off with the Beginning Night and Evening Twilight Night, Beginning Night and Evening Twilight Night combo off with the ritual spells and with Super Soldier. Overall really good. And talking about comboing off, we have the next card, not Evening Twilight Night, Envoy of Chaos. Envoy of Chaos is such a good card. It's basically the honest of the deck, allowing your Super Soldier to gain attack points. And as I explained before, if Super Soldier can attack twice and he can deal damage equal to the monster's attack points, and then Envoy of Chaos boosts him up by 1,500, that's just getting overboard at that point. That is overkill. But Envoy of Chaos obviously has another effect where if he's in the graveyard you can banish him and a light and dark monster to get him back to your hand. So essentially what it allows you to do is +3 in the end phase. Activate Envoy of Chaos effect from the graveyard, banish Beginning Night and banish Evening Twilight Night. Get Envoy of Chaos back to your hand, that's +1 because obviously you've got that card for free out your graveyard. And then Beginning Night will search you a ritual spell, Evening Twilight Night will search you a ritual monster. So you've got 3 cards in the end phase. So overall that is really good, and then you've got the setup for next turn summoning your Super Soldier, and then obviously Envoy of Chaos will boost him up. So overall you never really lose advantage with this deck. The only thing that can stop this deck is locks. Locks will be a problem of course, but apart from that this deck is definitely one of the best decks that you can play if you're a casual. And then next up we play 3 copies of Manju of the 10,000 hands. Manju I play it to get the ritual spell most of the time because a lot of the cards search the monsters like Gateway of Chaos, but not that many search the spells, so I do play the 3 Manju. And sometimes if you have the spell you can obviously search the monster with Manju. It's a ritual deck, it's pretty self-explanatory why we're playing Manju. Losing my voice here obviously. I've actually tried to record this so many times and I keep on stuttering for some reason. No big deal though. Let's go on to the next card, which is 3 copies of ALEISTER the Invoker. Now obviously this is our other normal summon. I'm playing 6 normal summons in total. ALEISTER's really good of course. I think you guys get the whole point where if you normal summon ALEISTER, add Invocation, activate Invocation, banish either your Beginning Night and Evening Twilight Night, summon MECHABA or CALIGA, and then you'll obviously get the search of Beginning Night or Evening Twilight Night. So obviously ALEISTER does really help to combo off with the Beginning Night and Evening Twilight Night. I kind of built this deck around Beginning Night and Evening Twilight Night to make sure we're always getting them searches, always getting them effects, and it does work really good because if you manage to drop a MECHABA, a Super Soldier with the effects that Beginning Night and Evening Twilight Night give him, and the Blackluster Soldier Envoy of the beginning, you've basically won at that point. And MECHABA obviously does provide that negation turn 1 if your opponent tries to, so your opponent can't really do much, because obviously this deck is more of an OTK deck, more of a go second deck, so I did want an option to go first, and ALEISTER does provide that option. So that's it for the monsters. We played 20 monsters, really good ratios I think. I don't think you should change much about it. A lot of people like playing 2 Beginning Nights, 2 Evening Twilight Nights, but because this deck kind of powers through them so quickly, I wanted to play the full 3 copies. Next up for the spell cards, we play 3 copies of Super Soldier Synthesis. Synthesis is obviously the better ritual spell. It's so good that Synthesis allows you to not only summon your Blackluster Super Soldier, but to summon him more easily, because obviously you can tribute one of your monsters from the deck. So if you have Beginning Night in hand, you can activate Synthesis, tribute Beginning Night from your hand, and then tribute Evening Twilight Night from your deck. So I find that really cool, and obviously you can even summon the Super Soldier from the graveyard using it, so it's just one of the best ritual spells I've ever seen, to be honest. Next up, we play 1 of the Super Soldier rituals. I only play 1 copy. I wanted to play 4 ritual spells in total, because of course not that many cards search the ritual spell, so I thought we have more searches for the monster, which is obviously Super Soldier, so I wanted to kind of even that out by playing an extra ritual spell. Even though we've got 3 monsters, we want to play the 4 spells. So ritual is really good. Obviously Synthesis is better, but ritual allows you to of course use its effect from the graveyard as well, so if you're in a tight position then that can come in handy a lot of the time. And then next up we play 3 copies of Gateway of Chaos, to Chaos, so we're going towards the Chaos. Yeah, so Gateway of Chaos, activate it, search a Blackluster Soldier ritual monster. So we of course do have that extra searcher for the Super Soldier, hence why we played the 4 ritual spells and only the 3 Super Soldiers, because it's so easy to get him because of Gateway of Chaos. And then every time you banish a card it gets a counter, remove 3 counters and search a ritual spell. So this card can get the ritual spells as well, but it is a bit harder to do that. So Gateway of Chaos, overall a good card. I don't really recommend playing Terraforming with it, because I definitely think the 3 Gateway to Chaos is enough, seriously. And then next up we played 2 copies of Invocation. Invocation obviously for the ALEISTER. A lot of people say Shurit you should cut it down to 1, but my issue with cutting it down to 1 is if they activate Cosmic Cyclone on it, and then I'm like, oh god, I've got these ALEISTERs but I can't even summon my MECHABA, I can't summon my Invoke monster, so I do play the 2. Plus you could potentially, obviously, if your Invocation gets to the graveyard somehow and you can't manage to get it back, there's obviously that other option of having the Invocation in the deck as well. So it's kind of just like an insurance policy to always have access to your Invocation. And then next up we have a spicy tech. We play the new card that came back to 3 copies of Mind Control. Now you're thinking, Shurit, what are you doing? And basically what I'm trying to say here is, Activate Mind Control, take your opponent's monster, tribute it to summon your Super Soldier, or take your opponent's monster, use it for a Link summon, or take your opponent's monster, use it with ALEISTER to summon a, a fusion monster. So Mind Control is so good in this deck. I don't know what Konami were actually thinking putting it back to 3. I think it actually might go back to 1 on the next list because it is such a good card, especially in Link format. But for now, let's mess around with it. I hope you guys do like the tech of free Mind Control. And then next up we play a card that I'm so happy that is back, and that is Monster Reborn. Monster Reborn is able to bring back your Super Soldier, is able to bring back your Envoy, is able to bring back literally every monster in your deck. It can even bring back your Mechabas from the graveyard. Konami, once again, I don't know what you were thinking bringing back Monster Reborn, but thank you. It's like they satisfied the fans on this list rather than satisfied their bank accounts, let's put it like that. Monster Reborn is an amazing card. I really do love it. I really wish if it was at 3, then that would be amazing. But I'm just happy it's back at 1. Seriously, 1's enough for me. As long as it's not banned and as long as I can use it in whatever deck I want to be able to bring back monsters, it's just so nostalgic to be able to say I activate Monster Reborn without knowing that it's banned, knowing that you're allowed to play it and being able to play it properly. I think a lot of people are gonna stop taking this into your deck, even though it's gonna be a potentially slower format now because like maybe Paleo will be the best deck. I think Monster Reborn is going to pop up a lot around here, there and everywhere because it's such an iconic card in the game. And then next up, for another one-off, we play 1 copy of Reinforcement of the Army, being able to get the Beginning Knights or the Evening Twilight Knights or the Envoy of Chaos. Overall, just a good card. Obviously, you can search out so many cards. And then next up, 1 copy of Foolish Burial. Foolish Burial, dumping the Evening Twilight Knight or Beginning Knight into the graveyard so you can summon your Envoy easily, or dumping ALEISTER into the graveyard if you have Invocation to be able to summon your invoked monsters. So that's it for the spells. We play 15 spells, so 20 monsters, 15 spells. It's just coincidentally managed to come out as like the best ratios for spells and monsters. And then obviously 5 traps, and I think you guys can guess what they are. We play 3 copies of Solemn Strike. If you guys haven't guessed it now, you're a bit dumb, but yeah, 3 copies of Solemn Strike. It's obviously another card for going first. I wanted more cards for going first, and because this deck can easily get access to its combo pieces, it's not a super combo deck. You only need 1-2 cards to kind of combo off. It's no big deal, so I definitely wanted to play the traps with it. And then next up, 1 copy of Solemn Judgment. Konami, once again, you satisfied the fans, bringing back Judgment, another iconic card in the game, allowing us to play a 5-card Solemn Brigade. And talking about 5-card Solemn Brigade, we have the last card, which is 1 card of Solemn Warning. So just that's 20 monsters, 15 spells, 5 traps, perfect ratio. And seriously, we're just looking at this deck. It's pleasing to look at the deck because the ratios are so good. The cards that are chosen are so good. 5 Solemns, 15 spells, 20 monsters, 3 Envoys. It just looks like such a nostalgic deck. It reminds me so much of the original anime series. And then next up for the extra deck, this definitely isn't going to remind you of the original anime series, but yeah, we played 2 copies of Invoke MECHABA. MECHABA, obviously an amazing card, being able to summon MECHABA going first and set a Solemn. That is pretty much a kind of like luck from you because that's 2 negations there, and obviously you always have fodder in your hand because you have so many monsters in the deck to be able to negate your opponent's monsters, and then the Solemns just back that up. And then 1 copy of Invoked, the card I can never pronounce, the Earth one, because Super Soldier is Earth. So if you want to like push for game, or you want to make a wall, a 3300 wall for defense, it's a good option. And then next up, if you want to banish Ash from your opponent's graveyard, we've got Invoke PURGATRIO. It's another card that can push for game because obviously it gains attack points. We have got a lot of room in this extra deck, so I decided to literally play all the Invoke monsters. So we played the next one, which is the Water one, because Paleo could potentially be a problem soon. So I did put the Water one in. And then next up, Invoke RAIDJIN if your opponent's playing maybe like a Wind Witch kind of deck. Obviously, because we've got room in the extra deck, we are allowed to play specific cards for specific situations, because this deck relies more off the main deck than the extra deck. And then next up, we played 2 copies of Invoke CALIGA, because we actually have got dog monsters in our deck. So I thought 2 copies in case we do need the 2 copies. It's kind of like your El Shaddai Winder, overall a good card. And then next up, a bit of a card that barely ever comes up, and that is a rank 8 Divine Dragon Knight FELGRANDE. This is potentially if you just want a protection, if you want to overlay your Envoy and your Super Soldier, which is never going to happen. But another reason that I put it in is if your opponent's playing Blue Eyes, you can mind control their alternative and then overlay it with one of your monsters or something. So it can come up. It barely ever will come up, but because we've got room in the extra deck, we can experiment with that. And then for the rank 4s, which do come up occasionally. We have one copy of number 41 Baguska if you want to go first and kind of lock out your opponent, or if there's really no other option and you just want to slow the game down. Then one copy of Castell for obviously that removal, and then a Nook for removal again, one copy of Tornado Dragon. That's it for the Xyz monsters, and then we just play 3 links, because obviously you can, if you use mind control on your opponent's link monsters, then you can link up and then summon one of your link monsters. So I play a link 4, which is Topologic Bomber Dragon. Obviously, if you take like a Decode Talker, you can take the Decode Talker and Manju or something, or Decode Talker and ALEISTER, and summon Topologic Bomber Dragon, so that is really good. And then next up we play the AKASHIC Magician, another card that if you take your opponent's monster, for example, if you take a Spellcaster, so if your opponent's playing Invoked, you can take their ALEISTER, normal summon your ALEISTER, get an invocation, then use both the ALEISTER to summon AKASHIC Magician. So overall a good card. And then to round it all off, in case you don't have these specific requirements to summon AKASHIC Magician and you want to get rid of your opponent's monster, I play another link 2, which is a Proxy Dragon. So for example, if your opponent has like a Baguska, you activate Mind Control, take Baguska, normal summon Manju, use Baguska and Manju to summon Proxy Dragon, so your opponent doesn't get the Baguska back. So that's been it for my Black Luster Soldier deck profile. Really sorry about the whole stuttering thing. I think there is something wrong with my voice right now, but no big deal. Hope you guys did enjoy it nonetheless. Obviously a really fun deck. I do recommend you guys mess around with it. This has been Shurit. Peace.